I was on a roll too.
I was feeling that.
Yeah. Oh, it came in now. I don't like it. Let's do it. What's happening? What's happening, man? Welcome back to the Second Chance Success Podcast, where we bring dope people on in front of you, man, to help bring the positive vibes, the good stuff to people that want to go from surviving to thriving and be successful in life in all kind of ways, right? You know, before we get started, I want to shout out the Lost Hearts Company. That's the shirt that I'm wearing. I met the brother in Atlanta at the Circle of CEOs event, and it was just dope energy, dope vibes, man. And I told him I'm gonna get his shirt. I got his shirt on the spot, and in the back it says "Catch me outside." But what they mean by that is they want to find ways to get our young people out off of their phones and back out into the community, riding the bikes, playing tag, doing all the things that we used to go do, right? Before we had all this media and stuff in our face and keeping us in the house, run the game and all that kind of stuff, right? So big shouts to Lost Hearts Company. I love it. Appreciate y'all. I got the hat, Deeper Than the Brand. This is Nikki. She'll teach you all about AI and how to utilize that to boost your social media and possibly make a buck out of it, man. So, you know, a couple of weeks ago, I was talking to you guys about a new pivot I made in my journey. I decided to get back into college. Some of you guys who know me personally, you guys know a little more of the story. You guys know things behind it, what fueled that decision. Those who tapped into my life, you guys are rocking with me. You guys been rocking with me. You guys understand why I did it, right? And it's been interesting. It's helped me a lot. It's helped me focus a lot. It helped me with it's helped me with my leadership skills and my perspective. I love it. I actually feel like a college student. I feel dope, you know, to say I'm a college student, man. And it's great. And the place is called College Unbound, right? And I just so happened to have the honor of a brother that came out from out of state, right? Visited our cohort, doing a site check in Washington. We're the first Washington class. I'm in the first Washington class, by the way. Come on. He hit me up. He said he want to have lunch. Let's link up. And I'm like, bro, you know what? How about you come here on the podcast? He's like, let's do it. What's it about? Send him to YouTube. He was like, it's fire. And he came through. So I'm going to let him, I'm going to introduce you guys, and he's going to talk more about College Unbound, his story. It's going to be like a full conversation like we're used to, man, and even how you could possibly take advantage of this resource, right? Because we need our bachelor's degrees and things and master's degrees and things, you know what I mean? But without further ado, I'm going to introduce College Unbound's Dean of Student Success, Chris Dixon. What's up, brother? How you doing, man?
Coming from Little Rhodey out here to Washington State.
Come on.
I'm the Assistant Dean of Student Success for College Unbound, and we'll get into what that means. But like you're repping a shirt. I got my College Unbound shirt on today.
Hey.
On the back, I don't know if I just turn around.
Yeah. Go ahead.
It says, student success is to lead and speak out on the issues of today.
Okay, come on.
And so student success is about students and what students actually want to see as success for them. A couple years ago, I've been at CU for 7 years. About 4 years ago, we transitioned from student services to student success. And I wanted it to be different. I didn't want to say, we do these programs. But I wanted to ask students, like, how do you define success? And so we reached out to the 200, 300 students we had at the time, and everyone filled out. We had like 70% of the students filling out our survey about like what success meant for them.
Wow.
And so we started printing shirts, and this is one of them.
Ooh.
Yeah, I got you.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And this was one of the quotes from one of the students. Some said, it's student success is me, a mom going back to school. Student success is me being able to accomplish my hopes and dreams. Student success to me is a path forward for my children. And then this one is speaking out about issues of today. And I see my role as a community facilitator of what you dream and hope success to be. And let's build that as a college together.
Come on, brother. Come on, brother. That's what I was going to ask you. What are some of the things? I like that. You already caught on to it, man.
I had a sense of things.
Yeah, come on. I like that, man. Because,
Yeah.
you know, we want to hear like what success means different things to different people, obviously, right? Like
Yeah.
one person's success could make $1 billion and have a sky rise in Miami, while another person can say, hey, I want to have a nice small home and raise a family with a fence around it. You know what I mean? And so what I always found, what I was studying and reading and stuff about success inside, it was just talking about success is the constant realization of what you want deeply, you know?
Yeah.
And so it's like dope to have somebody here who's like championing, helping other individuals become successful. My question to you is, what is success to you?
Oh, that's a great question. Success to me, I have a brother, and like I see myself as a brother to my brother, and striving to be the best brother I can to him. And it's deeply religious, and it's for everyone. But the idea that we're our brother's keeper, and in that is a deep desire to cultivate those that we come around. That could be my own brother, my own family, or meeting you and saying, hey, how can I be in relationship with you in a way that doesn't contain things or confine things, but says, hey, I want to actually like garden with you in life and steward the things that you care about and walk with you. And so success to me is like working with others in a way that like feels free and feels light, and also says, let's get our hands dirty together. And when our hands touch the soil, that's success. When our hands plant the seed, that's success. When our hands see whatever blossoms is success. And then when we see the thing flower in our lives together, that's success.
I respect that, man. That was in depth, you know. Cultivate. I was listening to something where I believe it was Dr. Miles Monroe, and he was talking about the art of cultivation and how it's like to tend the soil to promote growth, right? Let me ask you this: what are some ways, like some of your strategies when cultivating an individual to get to that point of success that it doesn't even have to just be in college; it could just be in life.
I think of like I have all I know is my life with my brother to some extent. Right. And I think a lot of like success in that work is just being in communication. And like real things are happening where people are getting married and relationships are changing. And so it means an extra layer of what it means to tend to the time that we hold precious together. And that's a text, that's a phone call, that's a checking in. That's the intentional work of showing up when you don't want to show up.
Man.
And it's also the time of like, actually now I'm really capped, but let's make plans for tomorrow and at least check in today so we can prepare for that tomorrow. That feels right.
You know, it's dope you say that. And actually being able to say, also let's include times where we were capped. Because I think that those of us who are like chosen to be the pourers, right? We keep pouring even when there's nothing there.
Yeah.
You know, and we don't fully know how, or we just don't do it when it comes down to like, I just can't right now because we feel like we let somebody down or somebody's not gonna ever come to us again, and you know, all these different things. And I've been on this interesting journey that I'm adding also is self-care. You know, I'm caring for self. I never was really on that. I thought it was like a soft thing, and I'm like, what the fuck is self-care? Like, you know what I mean? Never heard about it. Like, how important is self-care to you, and what are some things that you do for self-care?
To put a plug into College Unbound stuff, as we were thinking about this a couple of years ago, we were thinking about like colleges across the nation individualize self-care. Like it's so individual that like it's important for you to have rest. It's important for us to collectively rest. But we've been thinking, and I've been thinking a lot about what's like the we in wellness, and how do we as a society, like there's so much attention to individual care, which is really, really important. But sometimes I think there's really important work to do, in like going back to that garden stuff, but like cultivating and tilling whatever's in us to open up what needs to be opened up. And sometimes we have to recognize how much we need each other to actually rest. Like, I can't rest if I'm going to bed and someone sent that text or that email today, and that's weighing on my heart. And I need to make peace of mind with that. And so I think I'm recognizing from my own individual life, whether it's thinking about that email or that text or that conversation I had with someone, what it means to give peace to that, create a boundary around that, and engage in the right collective way there.
Wow. That's powerful. I like, you know what I really like is you answer these things really in depth.
Oh, thank you.
And I could tell it comes from an authentic place because it has to, especially again in your position. People can sense when it's not authentic.
Oh yeah.
When you really don't care, right? Like, you know what I mean? Like, you can feel, you feel it.
Oh,
you know what I mean? It's like, okay, this isn't. You don't get true change. You don't get true lasting transformation.
Yeah.
When you're not able to go around and plant those seeds. You know, they'll be synthetic. They'll be copycat. It don't work like that. You know, it never comes out right.
Yeah.
You know. So I want to double back a little bit, man, and because we can go on this journey. We're gonna dumb back. We're gonna go back in there, but I want to talk to the viewers and let them know exactly what College Unbound is and the mission behind College Unbound.
Yeah. So College Unbound exists for adults. We're a college for anyone who has tried college before and found it wasn't for them. For anyone that has thought about developing an idea and wants that community of support around it. All of our students at College Unbound build a project, a thing that they care about. And that project is the thing that you're passionate about. It's the thing that keeps you up at night, or it's the thing that you've always wanted to do with your life. That could also be the thing that you're doing for your job every day and that you want to learn about it more. But it's saying that we as a college, we have one major, which is kind of weird and funny. Some colleges say it's like a meta major, but it's the thing in organizational leadership and change. And that means that everyone is a leader, and everyone has the ability to create change in a way that they find is meaningful and important for them. I've found students are creating change, going back to some of those quotes earlier, like a mom coming back to school. Like, for some folks, creating change is their family. Like being like, hey, I really want to get good at like teaching my son how to read. Or I want to change policy in the state. And there is that breadth of students to take any area that you want to create change in, to make that the thing that you're working to create change in. I got excited about College Unbound when I met students like you.
Come on.
I came up to Rhode Island several summers ago and sat in a cohort of a guy. Someone I sat next to was an artist, and he was a comic book guru. His name's Anthony Vieira. Shout out to Anthony.
Come on. Shout out Anthony.
And he was talking about art in a way that like really inspired me. I was a big comic kid, as a huge manga comic person, and I encountered Anthony. He was trying to
Chuck Ballsy.
Yeah, he was huge. Oh yeah.
All right.
Super Saiyans.
I like you now.
Oh yeah.
He's God mode now, though.
Yeah. That's right. And Anthony, I saw him like make his comics about social historical transformation. And he was talking about, I remember his capstone project was about slavery in Providence, Rhode Island. And it was about the past and the present and how we all walk by it. And it like ruptured something to see someone take a gift that was both deeply historical and so needed for the present, and to use what he cared about, which was art making, for creating change in the world. Anthony is now a faculty at College Unbound. Take his class. And I've loved to see students become our teachers, because that's what's happening in your classroom. That's what's happening in every classroom, is that we're working to create a space where folks can show up to be themselves, and to work with others to create change.
I respect that, bro. And I see that when it comes down to College Unbound, it's like everyone in there, we're all going towards this one degree, but we're going at it with so many different paths. You know what I mean? Like one of the sisters on there, she's going for like policy change.
Yeah.
You know, and it's in the justice reform aspect of it. You know what I mean? There's another sister that wants to create a nonprofit for young ladies. There's a brother that wants to I think he wants to do something with like the police thing like going on. You know, I'm looking on
That's
working
what I
on
want to
a
ask
consultant.
you.
Yeah.
What
So
you thinking?
yeah. Excuse me. So coming up, you know, when I first started the nonprofit, right? I guess diving back, I didn't really want to be in this space, in nonprofit space like that. I had ideas of it in prison. However, it was like a shelf idea for later down the road.
Yeah.
What I used to see inside is a lot of people want to make nonprofits as like a hustle, you know, and I wasn't for that. You know what I mean? And when I got out, I really wanted to just do business, do motivational speeches and do that, which is crazy because it kind of played into it now. But I wanted to do something different and just inspire from another angle, right? And when I first started getting into the nonprofit, getting encouraged after writing the book and everything, I seen some barriers that were up when we were trying to get funding. You know, I didn't know where to get funding. Yeah, you know, how to get funding, and some of the people that did were like, they were like more of gatekeepers. You know, and then it's like they wouldn't. You would ask them like about, give me some advice, give me, you know what I mean, and they would give you some vague shit. Yeah, you know.
And they wouldn't tell you when the portal opens.
Nah, none of that. You know, all kind of stuff, you know, and thank God, well, we were lucky for us, we were able to do stuff on our own, you know, for a little bit and guerrilla market it. I call it guerrilla market it because we, you know, social media, pull up, we might leave something, a flyer on a bus, you know what I mean? We do throwing it back to the trunk and the CD type days, right? Yeah. And so this is all gonna tie in, I promise you. And so when I started seeing those barriers, then we finally got on. We got on really fast. The counties funded us quick because we happened to find the portal and jump in right at the right time. Thank God they were looking for that, and the story really sold it. And as I went up there's a lot of brothers and sisters that have dope ideas and can do dope work and still do dope work that didn't jump in that portal and get in there. Yeah. You know, and what I found is when we got in there, now we have all these free consultants. We got everything financial because we got everything we needed to build up to the size we are now. And I'm like, dang, but all my brothers and sisters over there, they don't got that. Some of them died off, like the organization died off. Some of them gave up and was like, this is too hard. And I was like, you know what? This ain't right. You know what I mean? Like, because they're dope. Yeah. But you have to show this, to do this, to get this, to get access to this. By the time you get to this point, and then you still don't know if you're gonna get it. Yeah. And then by the time you get it, then okay, here, go ahead. Yeah. You know, but it takes so much to get there. And so I decided that I wanted to create a consulting agency. Right? Especially for Black and brown led organizations based on organizational development, capacity building, and leadership development, you know, and bringing that to the different communities and finding those dope ideas and finding those people that really want to dope, that don't understand grants or how to go about it. They don't understand guerrilla marketing. They don't understand how to market and stuff. And so that's my piece, is creating an LLC around that. That's my thing.
That is, I mean, that's going to take you places, and it should. And that's like the work, like everyone needs a coach, and everyone needs someone to come say, hey, this is what's going on. Because some people, as you're talking about, don't know how to play all the rules of the game. And like consultants can do that well. Like you've lived it and you're seeing the successes in places like, I mean, this is so cool. And you have a platform, which is really important. I love that. Let's see where that goes.
No, yeah, dope. Yeah. And I appreciate you tapping in about that, asking, you know, because it's a big thing for my heart, bro. And like I said, you tapped in, you didn't even have to come and be like, let's go have lunch, bro. Honestly, when you text, I was like, who the hell is this? But I'm like, we said College Unbound, so it's super cool, right? And I'm like, and then seeing your dope energy. But like, what I want to know is like, where did this dope energy come from? How did you said 7 years in College Unbound? Yeah. Like what got you into College Unbound? Where's that?
Yeah. Oh man. I mean, a shout out to my mom.
Okay. Big shout out, Mom Dukes.
It's her birthday today, actually.
Happy birthday. Virgo energy.
Yeah. She, I was homeschooled.
Okay.
For a little bit of my life, and like good amount of my life. Yeah. We'll go into too much of that, but like I needed one-on-one support as a young person, and I saw how like education, I have ADD, dyslexia. You put me in a classroom and I just like start looking at walls and stuff. Wow. And it's just hard to pay attention. Really? And so like having someone that could like really speak to me, understand where I was at, like was really, really important for me. Like I wouldn't be here without her. And so when I saw College Unbound and their model of like like Dennis Lickey, who co-founded the college, talks about one student at a time. And that's not some like lofty dream. That's like real. Like you have an advisor, lab faculty that you meet with, you connect with. Every time you take a new class at College Unbound, you meet with your professor for a one-on-one. And like that kind of learning in the relationships, like nothing more important in life is more important than relationships. And we have faculty that buy into that want to support that do that. I've been that faculty. When I started at College Unbound, I was asked to teach a class on group facilitation and also teaching at the prison. And before that, I was actually working in Atlanta for an organization called AVP, Alternatives to Violence Project, and doing cohorts of nonviolence work in prisons and in communities. And I've seen the work of transformation of folks coming home and desiring something different. And I've seen that of folks coming home without that cohort community, and folks just not having the path forward. And I've seen the difference of folks coming home with that cohort and community and that path forward, and how that ignites everything. Like we all need a village, no matter where you are in life. I need a village today, tomorrow. I've needed a village all my life. And I found College Unbound as that village, that cohort that you need, everyone needs. It's what we need at work. Like imagine if work was like you talked about the project and you had all that support to actually do that thing that you care about at your job every day. I think I would imagine society would be different. So when we're looking as a college to reinvent higher education, it means to also reinvent the world as we know it too, because we all desire and need that one-on-one support and care, and we're not getting it. And so there's a lot of work to do, and I'm excited to be a part of it. I've seen it grow from a small room of 15, 20 students to now 500, which is wild. And so actually I'll also share what I was reading. So part of my role is I oversee writing support, wellness support, all the different things. And so I got to read everyone's actually applications. I was reading yours and why you want to come to CU. Oh yeah. And I was talking with Megan. And so I was like, who am I want to be really intentional with? And you're that person. I didn't know anything about this. But I knew, I've seen folks really do remarkably well. And it's something that it's important to be around and to celebrate and say, hey, what you're doing is both credit worthy and worth celebrating. And it's the kind of change that we want to say, you're our student, and it's important to be here. Like it is important to be in Greenville and in Philadelphia. Hope to be in Atlanta one day, and we'll be back.
Let me know. I love going to Atlanta. Let me know. I'll come speak with y'all. I'll come market with. Just tell me Atlanta.
We'll make it happen.
With it. Real talk, man. I appreciate that, bro. You know, it's funny, right? Because the way that I even signed up for College Unbound, right? You know, and it's still kind of unbelievable that I'm here. Like, you know, so I've always had this thing, right? So I remember when I was in prison, I got my carpentry certificate, right? The thing in there. And I just remember one thing is like, okay, I want to do everything opposite of what I did when I used to get out, right? So I can get opposite results of what I used to get when I used to get out. And I said, okay, well, let me reverse engineer this vision thing, because I don't have enough perspective to know what vision I want. And so I was like, okay, well, I know one thing is I don't want to be broke, because I'm going to rob people again. And so if I don't want to be broke, what do I need to do? I need to pick up a trade or a skill or something. And carpentry came in. I didn't know about carpentry. There was a brother that was in there. He was doing 12 years, and he was trying to get in the carpentry program. Now, and as you know, you've worked in prisons. There's a lot of there's whites, blacks, Mexicans. In the facility I was at first, you couldn't get certain jobs if you was black, you know, because it was predominantly ran by whites or Mexicans. And then I heard at the camp, you couldn't get into certain classes unless you was with the whites or Mexicans, right? And the dude that told me he was Mexican, he was like, yeah, I'm finna go do this carpentry degree. He was like, but I don't know if anybody can get in there. He said, I'm finna write a letter. And I was like, that's a smart idea. So I said to myself, and I'm like, all right, you know what? I'm gonna write a letter too.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I wrote a letter. He didn't write the letter. I got in there. He didn't.
Yeah.
You know, just like my book that came out. I was gonna write the book. Now, there's a whole story behind that. But when I was in there was a brother that used to come visit the prison. And he was like, I'm gonna write a book about everything I did and do it self. And I was like, oh, that's a good idea. And I got out. He never wrote the book. He bought my book though. You know what I mean? So now this ties in. So I was sitting there with big shout out to Shara. I was sitting there getting my locks retwisted. And I heard a college about before. I don't remember where. But I was sitting there getting my locks retwisted, right? And she's like, yeah, man, I'm thinking about going back to college. And I was like, man, that's been on my heart lately. And he was like, I'm thinking about College Unbound. And I was like, why have I heard about that before? And I'm like, what's going on, man? I said, what's the process? And I promise you, I wasn't even thinking about really doing it. And I was like, she was like, well, I'll see you the email. She sent it to me. I said, let me see the application. And while I'm getting my locks retwisted, I put the application in. A couple hours later, Megan emails me.
Oh, wow.
I'm like, oh shit, this is real.
It's real.
So I was like, let me play this game real quick. Let me see. Did it. Within a week, I was doing it, getting involved. In the next month and a half, 2 months, I'm in the school. And I told her, I said, I'm in there. She's like, for real?
Yeah.
She's like, I must have signed up now. And so it was dope.
Yeah.
And like I said, it's still unbelievable right now because I'm like, oh shit, I'm really a college student. Like this is like a for real thing. Yeah. You know, any other time I went for a little bit, stopped going, got locked up, ran on a warrant, blah, blah, blah. But I'm here and I'm really in this space, right? Let me ask you this. Would have been some challenges in your position while being there. There has to have been some, man.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of it. So I work with Jose Rodriguez. Shout out to Jose.
Shout out to Jose. Come on.
Assistant Vice President for Community and Belonging. Yeah. And together we've worked on our prison education program for a number of years. It is the hardest thing in the world is to deal with the Department of Corrections and to assure that folks get access to quality education. There have been, I mean, it's it's a whole thing.
Yeah.
And I think a lot about like our early journey of being there, shifting from, we don't want to just teach a class in prison, but we want to create a pathway for folks to get an actual college degree. And that shifting from just teaching education classes to creating a pathway for someone to leave prison with a degree, like that credential, has been it's a rocky experience because not everyone that works at the prison has a bachelor's degree. That's for sure. And so offering free education for folks inside because they deserve it and they're brilliant. Has come with a lot of friction, and I won't go too far into it's for sure been the thing that as I think has been a really challenging thing. Like it's challenging doing it in and of itself. It's challenging at the local level. It's challenging at the state level. I'm actually a doctoral student. After seeing all this work of folks getting their bachelor's degrees in prisons and coming home, it's been pissing me off that folks at the legislature just keep talking about people as inmates or criminals and X, Y, and Z, and don't see people inside as parents. Like, what if we saw everyone inside as a parent or a caregiver? Like that would change our policies, our programming, everything. Yes. If we just saw people as parents and caregivers.
Come on.
Like people are connected to the community and we're ripping people away from those communities left and right. And we're asking people after years of being away to be okay with a few bus passes. And like, that's not okay. Yeah. And like last year, like I've been encouraged, like our students at College Unbound do projects. We had a student, who's now an alumni. Shout out to Brandon Robinson. Brandon's making,
big shout out, Brandon.
Y'all gotta, we gotta send Brandon out here to be on this this show because he's remarkable. But Brandon's been he was inside for a long time. His home now. He went from coming home to needing an apartment. Shout out to Wanda Brown. Who
Wanda.
Met Brandon when he came home from prison. Gave him an apartment key. His own place of his own. That's what we do at College Unbound. We help folks come home, get a place of their own. Brandon now just bought a home. Brandon bought a multi-gen home. He's making income off that home.
Come on,
Got
Brandon.
his master's degree. I'm
Yeah.
mad proud of Brandon.
Yes.
He's actually now on our College Unbound board, so he's my
Yes.
boss now.
Oh, word. Come on, Brandon.
He's all our boss.
Yeah.
But I think about that work, and I think about like all of the challenge, like Brandon's challenges are our challenges as a college.
Come on.
And like we want to be a college, and I talked about when I visited class the other night, but like we don't want to just like create a pathway. We want to actually work with you on expungement, and we want to celebrate. Like we know that like just getting a bachelor's degree isn't enough. Like, we have to be in the fight with you, because if not, then we're not the college that we claim to be. And that's midnight at the State House.
Man, right.
That's midnight there, and that's also 8 a.m. breakfast or 6 a.m. breakfast, and celebrating the little wins. And it's earlier this week picking someone up at Wendy's because they needed a ride to the office.
Wow.
And that's part of the job. And yeah, I think a lot about, there's two things that make student success in our community cares team. One is accompanying, that we want to accompany people. Paul Farmer talked a lot about this, and he talked about how accompanying is the work of walking with someone to break bread. That's what the Latin of that word means.
Walking with someone to break bread. Oh, that's good.
And that's like our model as a college.
Yeah.
Like we want to have dinner with our students every night. Like that's in Rhode Island, class begins at 5:30 with dinner and childcare, because we want people to show up and be their full selves.
I gotta come out there.
You gotta come out. We're gonna make it happen.
Oh yeah.
I mean, when you get your degree,
yeah,
like folks go out there. Yeah, so that's the thing.
That's it. Okay.
And then the other thing is advocacy. Like we as a college deeply believe in your voice and its ability to create ripples, and we want to just help you be the best rock you can in that water to make those ripples. So for some people that looks a little different. For everyone, though, everyone at College Unbound will graduate with 1 credit in advocacy and agency for our Big Ten. And so like that's work that we don't ask you to do outside of yourself, but it's actually work that you look back on your project, your work, and you say, hey, I was an advocate because I showed up to my kid's parent-teacher thing this past week, and they shared that they have an IEP and they're not getting the support they need in schools. Like we have so many parents with kids with disabilities that haven't been able to persist in school because they're caregivers. So people that really need it, they're young people. And we want to say as a college, like that's the thing that's going to get you across the finish line here.
Man, that's so dope, bro. Like, I didn't even know all that deep into it. I didn't know all that deep. I know you guys rocked. You guys gave chances. You guys helped people graduate. I know there's a caring team, a real loving team. I didn't know that you guys did all that.
Yeah.
That's super dope. Like, you guys are really trailblazing.
We just hired Liz Griffin.
Okay.
Shout out to Liz, because we just hired her this past. You'll meet her soon.
Okay,
probably next week or the week
after. I got her, man. Now I'm even more excited. I'm even more happy to be a part of this.
Yeah, she's going to be helping folks out here, supporting them along Megan.
Oh, for real?
Yeah, fun. You're hearing it first, actually.
Yeah.
First student to hear it.
Hey, man, it dropped on the podcast, on Second Chance Success Podcast. Remember that, y'all? Nah, man, I appreciate that, bro. And I think that, so I went to alternative school coming up. I mean, I was never diagnosed with ADHD, but now that I'm in school, I think I have it. I just sitting all these meetings and too. It's hard for me. It's always been like when I was in school, it was difficult for me to really be still, and I would get my work done and then I'd be ready to go play or go run around or go do it. Like I can't, or if it wasn't interesting to me, I wouldn't do it because I didn't want to do it. Also, I think it's also like, if you look at our ancestralist culture, like we learn with music, we learn with dancing and moving, that bleeds into it too, So there's all these different experiences. And so I ended up in an alternative school, one of the worst ones, for King County, bro. And it got shut down because of corruption type stuff, But that was my perspective on alternative schools, and I was like, they suck. They're not really for the people, or they're not helping. So I go back, I get into this work, and we start doing programming in these different alternative schools. And I'm like, oh my God, this is really what I needed my whole life. Like these special projects, and not special in the way people would say special, but like these unique projects. There was a young lady at one school we're at, for her science project, bro.
Mhm.
They let her talk about how to grow weed.
Oh, I love that.
And
Yeah.
did a whole project on growing weed. Like, and it was like educational though.
Yeah.
You know, and it was so dope. And I seen so many kids last year. Every year we take our kids on a boat for the graduates, right? And bro, I seen so many young people that in a traditional school that wouldn't have graduated because of the structure that is in place. Every one of them walked that stage, bro. There's a couple in college right now. There's a couple and they came from that. So like it changed my outlook on these schools, bro. And when you say that, like that one-on-one, you know, my daughter, my oldest daughter, she needs like a little that more one-on-one thing. Because if not, she's off, not paying attention, doing what the hell she want to do, you know? But I think it's important that we stop looking at it like that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That we stop looking at it like we demonize an individual education plan, an IEP. That's what it is, an individual education plan. Yeah. This individual needs different attention, but a unique attention or an attention for himself. They need to be smaller with less people, or they need to be a one-on-one person. They're not stupid, right? They have another way of learning.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So like, what are your thoughts on that, man?
Oh man, I got some thoughts. Yeah, I mean, I'm a huge believer. There's a person, Terry Yasso, who talks about something called community cultural wealth.
Okay, community cultural wealth. I like that.
It's
cultural wealth.
It's beyond social capital.
Okay.
But that you have capital from your family, which is called familial capital, that you learn and have value because of your family and who you consider kin. And that's just as important as social capital.
Right.
And then thinking about what you shared earlier about music and art, like there's linguistic capital and all of the different ways that you learn linguistically, like that's a form of capital. And then there's resistance capital, like all the different ways that you resist like different forms of oppression. Like that's knowledge and understanding that we don't talk about, celebrate. Navigational capital is the way you're moving through different systems.
Wow.
And then my favorite is aspirational capital, that everyone has aspirations. And how do we then see those aspirations and then also work to cultivate them? Because everyone's got a different passion, a different belief. And as a college, we talk a lot about aspirational capital, like your hopes and dreams, and work to build them through your PLP, through working with your lab faculty. But the other thing I'll throw into this that I'm working on with some friends is the belief of neurodivergent capital, that someone with a disability, accessibility thing, like seeing the world through my dyslexia, through my ADD, is also a form of capital. That actually, like, your disability is actually your greatest asset to who you are and how you see the world at a slant. And I think so, like what we were talking about, like the IEP, like if you have that IEP and that's been your strength, like then you can do that with others. Like then you can lean into someone else's like best way of learning. I love in our application, we ask students like, how do you learn best? And that's going to vary differently for everyone. And that needs to, because what you care about and the things that you want to see into the world is going to be very, very different. And how you want to arrive there. Like we all want to create change around being an abolitionist and creating change around criminal justice reform. But how we want to do that as an artist, as a caretaker, as a parent, as a scholar, as a student, is all going to look a little different. And there, you can't just say, oh, take these 6 classes for your major. That doesn't make sense. That's going to just reproduce all the harms that we see in the world, I think. But when we lean into what's uniquely you and your way of seeing the world, I think that's the thing that's going to create change. And I'm a big believer in disability justice. We have affinity groups.
I seen that.
What you know about affinity groups?
I see a little. Let's talk about it.
And we have disability justice grows out of the work of recognizing that disability work has been largely centered from the experience of white folks. And we haven't listened to folks' experience of color with disabilities. And disability justice is thinking about ways of moving forward collectively that disrupt all the norms that we care about. I think about all the ramps to every, like churches are some of the most segregated and most inaccessible places in America. And it's crazy. It's crazy that the pulpit is the most inaccessible thing in the US. And you see that every time you walk into a church, like there's steeples and steps. And I think a lot of the work of disability justice is say, hey, naming that these steps and stairs don't need to be there. These bars between us don't need to be there. And let's imagine and build the other thing together.
That's deep, bro. That's super deep, bro.
Thank you.
Is there a place I could find these different what you spoke with the different where can I find that?
Yeah, Terra Yasso, Community Cultural Wealth.
Community Cultural Wealth.
I got you.
Okay, I definitely I gotta dive into that.
Yeah,
I only knew about like social capital. You know, I didn't know about anything else, aspirational capital, any of that. Like,
yeah, I mean, like as the unsettling thing for me about higher education is that higher ed is largely built away from communities, takes people away from their community and sends them somewhere else. You see people leaving home to go to another college. But what if we centered education in community? What would happen if we stayed for a while and you built the thing that you cared about for a while? And I think because of that, we can lean into something like aspirational capital together.
Bro, yeah. Bro, I just had this conversation because right now, you know, it's in especially between King County, Pierce County, there's been an extreme rise in gun violence. It's been crazy, you know. It's never been a time, especially in King. For what we've seen in King County, there's never been a time like this. You know what I'm saying? And so a lot of the leaders, public health, even, you know, a lot of the DOJs, Department of Justice brothers, big shout out to them, Eddie and them. They just flew out here and came to our office, and we're all just trying to put our heads together. And what we're talking about, and I'm like, man, listen, it's an all hands on approach. You know, there's a thing. I don't know if you heard of Hillen-centered engagement.
Yeah. Tell me a little more.
Yeah. Hillen-centered engagement. I forgot the brother's name. It's a doctor. I forgot his name is a brother. But what he came to find out, because he used to work with a lot of young people, and what he came to find out was that trauma wasn't just like an episodic thing. It was a whole thing. So they would experience trauma in the house. They experience trauma in the school. They'll experience trauma in the community. And so everywhere that young person went, it was trauma everywhere, you know? And so if we're having that effect, like, so with my program, we give one-on-one mentorship, social emotional learning program, and resource navigation, right? But we also have to be able to connect with programs that affect policies. We also have to be able to connect with the educational system. We also have to be able to connect with the justice system, because like those are not our specialties. And if we all want to help with these young folks, we have to hit it from every single angle, right? And one of my crazy visions, right, is I want Pro Se Potential to be in every state, every underserved community, state, city, country, right? And I want them to have resource navigation, the same things that we're offering here, right? And I wanted to get to a point, and this is partnering with other people though, right? I wanted to get to the point to where, like you said, they're not having to leave their communities now. They're building their communities from inside. They're incubators, right? And so we set the new standard now. Now the standard ain't like you've been locked up or you got shot or you was banging. Now the standard is like, okay, you're already starting off with going into the educational system, getting your career, getting your degrees, building your business. Now we're talking about how do we scale this, right? How do we scale this? That's our new standard. That's what I want our new standard to be at, right? But like you said, it's an all hands-on approach. How do we do that and have you where you don't have to leave? I'm not saying it's wrong with traveling or going anywhere, but how you don't necessarily have to just escape, you know, but you could build from there. You know what I mean? So like that, we were just having, I was literally just having this conversation
I love that.
Not long ago. So one thing I noticed you guys said, the brother, you said a quote. You said the brother said that he was the co-founder of College Unbound. You said a quote he said. What was it?
One student at a time.
One student at a time.
Yeah.
And if you notice, a lot of great people, they always have like some sort of quote they really everybody stands on. Like, you know what I mean? It's this is what it is. Like one thing with Malcolm's like, you know, we didn't land on Plymouth Rock, landed on us. Or these other different things, right? Or I had a dream of being in the Martin Luther King speech. What do you think a quote that you live by and stand on that you would want to be remembered by?
Oh man, remembered by. It's a good one.
It's gonna take time, brother.
Yeah. I think the thing that comes to mind, there's a dude I'm gonna send you a book from.
Okay.
His name's
I
Greg.
love books. I love books.
Greg Ellison. Shout out to Greg.
Shout out to Greg.
He runs a program called Fearless Dialogues.
Ooh.
And I think about like the title of his book, and it's Fear-Less. And I think it's like, because we have to acknowledge, and he talks about how we have to acknowledge the work of fear in our world and the work of fearing less.
Right.
And I think a lot of what I'd love to inspire for myself and for others is the work of what does it mean to live with courage?
Come on.
And what does it mean to live from the heart and to see the hearts in others and to build work from the heart. And there's so much. I mean, I believe I've sat with so many folks and sat with my own violence in my heart, and like we gotta do the hard work if we're gonna become, if we're gonna become anything. And I think a lot about that work of courage, and I'd like to think on a tombstone in some hopefully distant future that says he feared less.
Oh,
and something like that feels right.
I like that. He feared less. That's lit. That's lit. I love that, brother.
Thank you.
You know, before I let you go, man, can you let people know how they can get involved in the College Unbound, whether it's a student or even if it's donating or volunteering, whatever, man? Let the viewers know how they can get involved in something like this.
I mean, the best thing you can do, go to our website, check out collegeunbound.edu. Shout out to Adam Bush, who's our president. Shout out to Adam. He's going to be visiting.
Oh, yeah, I did see that email.
He'd be a good guest for this. I'm going to throw him out.
Yeah, please.
I'll put him out. Come out. Yeah, he's the guy. Adam was the person that really inspired me to come to see you and stay.
Word. Okay.
So,
we don't get Adam. Yeah, you
can get Adam. Yep. But look up collegeunbound.edu. We're a college for adults, and we're here to reinvent higher education, to center your experience and to help you graduate and become the leader, change maker you want to be in your community.
Come on, man. I appreciate you tapping in.
Yeah,
brother.
Man.
You know, listen, guys, this is Guys and Gals. This is an extremely important opportunity, man. You know, whether you believe it or not, like a degree can help in different ways. You know, we're not saying you have to go and get your degree. We're not saying like that's a requirement in life. I'm just saying the reason why I did is I had a regret of not finishing school, right? But also I know that with what I do and the trajectory I'm going on and the vision I have for myself, I could do it with a business, but also it could add to my value. Right, for what I want to do, right? You want to do speaking engagements, you got a bachelor's or a master's. You're a master at what you're doing. You've studied this, you've put work in to do this. You know, you want to write books, you put BA, you know, M, whatever. You know, I don't know all the terms. I'm still getting in school, but you do those different things, man. So, you know, go for it. It's a dope opportunity. I'm telling you, has a low barriers to getting in. They're all for us. He told you like they help in all kind of ways, man. And before I let things go, I want to encourage you guys, go join our community on IG, man, Instagram, the Second Chance Success Village, bro. There's dope minds on there. There's dope individuals on there. There's always some kind of motivational, inspirational posts. You guys get the early drops before I drop them out, the interviews, the extra piece of love. There's some special things coming really, really, really soon. I'm not going to say it right now, but you guys will have the early access to it. It's a group of like-minded people that are a village. They want to see each other strive and thrive and be successful, man. Much love, brother.
Peace.
That was dope.
Man, thank you.
That was dope.
You know I'm seeing extra. Got a main character, but you could be an extra. Yes, sir. We the hottest out, used to be next up. Now I'm on some Ariana. Thank you, next, bruh. Shorty came from Lex and she flexed up. EJ turned these motherfucking pecs up. Need something, I hit my connects up. I get like 3 something every time I dress up. I told Yeez, I said I got a confession. We about to be something, they gon' have to catch up.